Time for the ride home in ENC.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is your 5 o'clock drive with Patrick Johnson.
Holy mackerel!
More news, more interviews, more ECU stories than you can shake a stick at. Hey, stop shaking that stick. This is the Patrick Johnson Show.
Pirates win! Pirates win!
On 94.3 The Game.
All right, hello again, everybody, and welcome. It is the PJ Show. We've got an action-packed edition today for you. Thanks for being with us here on 94.3 The Game and 94.3thegame.com and the IBX Media app. Philip Pilkington is here. Big show today. Pilk and I will welcome Blake Harrell in just a few minutes for our Harrell Huddle. And then coming up later today, Brian Mull will be joining us to talk some college basketball. I do have a question. Liv has apparently decided to go to 72 holes from the 54. So I don't know what the Roman numeral would be for 72. But would they start calling themselves that is the question. I don't know. So that is the case there. We got to jump in and get going here because I have to get over to the arena for TV tonight for women's basketball on ESPN Plus against Charleston Southern. The Pirates and the Bucks. It'll be a swashbuckling good time, Pilk. But let us do the top 5 at 5 here on the PJ Show.
This may very well be our last mission. Let's make it count.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
It's impossible.
Now some stories you may have heard.
Ready?
Or catch it for the first time. This is your 5 at 5 with the P-Man.
All right, number one, Uno, is what, Mr. Pilkington?
Number one is that John Gilbert announced yesterday on this show that the Pirates and Wake Forest have canceled their game, or Wake Forest has bought out East Carolina for their game in 2027 when they were supposed to come here to Greenville.
The ACC announced that they're going to 9 conference games, still working through that. I was notified, Wake Forest is going to drop us in 27.
Okay.
And so there's a home and home with Wake Forest in 27 and 28. The way the contract works is they had to give notification on the 27 game. Now, we're going to get a buyout from that, so it will be still financially attractive. The next year, we're supposed to go to Wake Forest. Well, we need an away game. We're going to keep the game on the road. And, again, makes sense for us to keep that game. We get to play an ACC opponent.
And they like it because they're going to sell some tickets.
And we still, like what most people don't understand is, depending on the team, when you play a home and home game, we still exchange a little bit of money to help us cover our expenses. So it could be a couple $100,000. So we can go to Winston-Salem and back for a lot less than that.
Right.
So it still will be a net positive game for us, but we're going to be looking for a game in 27. And in the football scheduling world, that is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like literally tomorrow. So I don't know where we will end up with that game, but I've been working the phones since they notified us on that. So we're going to need a FBS type game in that window.
So, an exclusive yesterday, as you mentioned on the Patrick Johnson Show, and we appreciate John coming on and making that announcement on this fine radio product. This is going to happen. I think what you have to be concerned about now is what happens with that NC State game in 2028. Again, what's the buyout language on that? The ACC directive is 9+1, 9 games of conference play in the Atlantic Coast Conference, or the All Coast Conference now. And, what is the +1, I guess, is a fellow G5 team. You could go on the road and play G4, but you can't go. So, I look at this, Pilk, and I say, the sad realization is that's why you got to give BYU all the credit in the world. They came here and willingly came here. Now they may never again. I'd be on the phone with them, but
not independent anymore. Like when that contract
was signed. But and that's what makes the BYU thing much more impressive. Is that they stuck with that.
Real quick,
yeah.
Just going to say that date we got canceled with. Georgia Tech is supposed to play Tennessee but Georgia Tech has 4 out-of-conference games scheduled. Their +1 is going to be Georgia. They're going to cancel that Tennessee game. John Gilbert's got some connections at Tennessee. Just saying.
Yeah, but that's another. And I asked John about a pay game. That to me is what I would be angling for that, a second pay game.
Yeah.
Because you've already got one Northwestern on the road. It'd be great. Going to Tennessee, if they'll pay you, yeah, go. And then work on the rest of the long-term scheduling, which is, I think you have to have Marshall back on there. I'd entertain the idea of Southern Miss.
Oh, yeah.
I would consider James Madison. I think you're going to have to be playing teams like that, continue a series with Liberty, continue playing Coastal. That will have the financial impact that, maybe not that NC State or North Carolina would have, but certainly I think one that Wake Forest would have. Probably more of one, to be honest.
Yeah.
Their fans will actually make the trip down here. So I would like to see some of that. Georgia Southern.
App State.
Thank you. I knew I was forgetting one, App State. These are already things that kind of do exist, some of these, but, do you add on to that? Should East Carolina, or are we at the point in the conversation where should we talk about should ECU and App State play every year?
I think they should, but we are going.
All right, that's for another day. Next.
Number 2.
Speaking of John Gilbert, Patrick Johnson asked him about a potential contract extension, what he wants to do moving forward, as he only has 1 year left on his current deal.
About a year left on your current deal, I guess. Is that?
Yes. Well, starting December 1 or 2, I'll have 1 year after that.
So, where does that stand, right? Is it something you're interested in continuing on with?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Like, Katie and I love
good.
living
My
in
heart
Greenville.
just returned from being in my throat, so that's good. I like that.
Katie and I love living here. It's we really enjoy Greenville and Eastern North Carolina, and I'm really happy here.
John gets a lot of heat, but any AD gets a lot of heat. We've had some real turds as ADs.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some real turds in the world of athletics. John's a good man. I think there's certainly some criticism that you received, that John receives. Some of it, a lot of it is unfair. There are a few things I think probably, okay, you might have a point. But the vast majority of it is unfair criticism from idiots, quite frankly. And I think to have dealt with the COVID situation, to have dealt with what we're going through right now with all of these external factors, and be steady and consistent and measured, he's got the perfect temperament for this.
Yeah, he does. I think it's going really well. I like it.
We asked the chancellor that same question when we talked to him last Tuesday. And, he basically said, we want John to stay on. So the chancellor wants it. John wants to stay. This doesn't seem like this is too difficult.
No, it doesn't. It's a matter of numbers. And here we go. Now on to number 3.
Number 3.
Last night on Inside Pirate Athletics with PJ, Caton Hauser talked about how the run game has been helping him out and making him a better quarterback.
It takes the pressure off me a little bit, allow to give those young backs, give them the ball and let them go. It also starts up front, too. Those guys up front, Darius, Kojo, McCrimmon, all those alignment up front, they really starting to get together that chemistry and just really playing hard and playing physical through the whistle and letting those running backs go and taking the pressure off me. It's just, I feel like we're really playing complementary football on offense and be able to run the ball, throw it, everything.
He got an AAC honorable mention this week. There are a lot of great quarterbacks in the American, but this is a one-loss conference team, and there are games that he has had that I felt like he should have been the offensive player of the week.
Oh, I definitely agree, man. He's really evolved before our eyes, and I love the player he's become. And Coach always talks about the young man he is, both on and off the field as well. We're very fortunate to have him.
Next.
4.
Number 4, Mark Pope has been able to avoid jury duty. He originally got scheduled for jury duty and had to report yesterday, but with today being Veterans Day, it got canceled, so he now can coach the game tonight, which is in Louisville, as the Wildcats travel across the Bluegrass State.
So wait a minute, he didn't get out from the sense he doesn't have to serve on the jury.
True, but he got out in the sense that he gets to coach in a big-time rivalry game. I think he's applying to get it pushed till after the season.
It's a very non-PC episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, but it might be the funniest episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm in the history of a very funny show. But there's an episode called, I think it's The Carpool Lane, that involves jury duty. Google it, look it up. It's hysterical.
All right, I will. Sounds good. On to number 5. Number 5, it sounds like YouTube TV is asking Disney to give them lower rates than they're giving Comcast, Xfinity, and DirecTV. So from what we're understanding, YouTube is the actual villain in this whole thing.
Meaning, you kind of lost me on that. YouTube wants
Disney to give them lower rates for their stuff than they're giving to the actual cable providers and DirecTV, pretty much to keep streaming cheaper, but they want a discount.
YouTube does.
Yes.
I mean, this is multi-million-dollar conglomerations fighting over, and who's the loser?
Jane and John.
Jimmy and Jane Walmart.
Yep.
All right.
Happy Veterans Day, everybody.
Yes, it is Veterans Day. Veterans Day, the very best to my granddad, Mr. PK, served our nation, and all the veterans out there. All right, Blake Harrell, when we come back here on the Patrick Johnson Show, it'll be our Harrell Huddle.
It's time for our HealthWise Pharmacy Harrell Huddle. Head coach of the Pirates, Blake Harrell, joining us here on the program as we talk Pirate football. Big game against Memphis coming up on Saturday. And Coach Harrell with us here, courtesy of HealthWise Pharmacy. Coach, great to have you on. Obviously, a huge win for homecoming. Put that in the rear view and get ready for Memphis. And back-to-back weeks with afternoon football in Dowdy Ficklen Stadium. And despite the cold temps of early in the week, it looks like we're going to have another great weather weekend. So a lot to be excited about right now for Pirate Nation. From you and the team's perspective, how do you view it?
Yeah, it's the exact same way. It was like what you just said. You got to put homecoming. It was a really good win and an awesome atmosphere and vibe all weekend from Friday night, downtown to the game and Hall of Famers in, letter winners in, and former players on the field as well. So that was pretty cool. And then to come out there with a victory and a victory versus Charlotte, who we hadn't beaten in 2 years, was really special. And I thought our guys, started really well, foot on the gas, got up to a 28-0 lead. And really proud of how they started. Like a few things ironed out in there, but all in all, it was a good chance to get a win, and we did that, and a conference win that still keeps us at the top of the conference. And now you flip the page pretty quick and get on to Memphis, and excited about the opportunity to play them and be back in Dowdy Ficklen for a big game. And I told our players it's a big game because they've made it a big game, and what they've done all season long up to this point is why it's a big game, and I'm sure our fans are excited to be back in Dowdy Ficklen as well and see a good football game.
Yeah, and you can go to ECUPirates.com, enter the code RIDE, R-I-D-E, to take advantage of discounted tickets for the upper deck and for the lower bowl for this game, hoping that a big crowd will be in attendance as we are talking with Blake Harrell, coach of the Pirates, East Carolina, and Memphis. Big matchup. Memphis, up until a week or so ago, was a team that many thought would make the college football playoffs. So this is a quality team coming in. We'll talk more about the Tigers in just a bit. Coach, I know there are a lot of great positives, and you just outlined them to take away from the win. There's some areas that you would like to see shored up. And one of them that you kind of alluded to there, kind of keeping the foot on the accelerator. Did you feel like your team, I don't want to say let up any, but maybe just had a few lapses perhaps, and that led to that Charlotte game perhaps being closer than it needed to be?
Yeah, I mean, you get up 28-0 and you kind of take a breath for a second, and we actually had the ball going down the score and make it 35-0, and kind of Caden gets the first down, picks the first down, running the football on a scramble, and the ball got poked out as he's going down. So, if that goes in, you're up 35-0, you feel really good about it. And, they turn around and get a score, make it 35-7, and still felt pretty good about it. The one that I kind of got upset about, is just defensively, we let it score out right before the half, a 2-minute situation. We were trying to actually get the ball back to the offense. I was going to burn a timeout and get the ball back to the offense and see if we could go up 42-7 at the half, which you'd feel really good about that. So, and I think that was just the vibe in our locker room at halftime, is we thought we'd done some good things, but we thought, hey, we let one or two scores get away from us there at the end of the half, and we got to keep the foot on the gas. And I told our players, like, you've raised the bar around here. You've set a higher standard for yourself and the expectations for yourself that's created that. So that's a good thing. And I thought the things we did well, we took care of the football for the most part. We forced 2 turnovers, a big one by Tymir Brown, who had a pick 6. We only had 1. We created a bunch of explosive plays. I think we had 8 total explosive plays to their 4. And then every time we were in the red zone, we scored. We were 100%. I think the stats show like 6 of 7, but the last one was a kneel down. But otherwise, we were 6 of 6 in the red zone there. And then we were able to run the football again. We won the rushing battle 183-40 and just did a really good job. T.J. Engelman, London Montgomery, those guys running the football. And then the one I'm kind of most proud of is just, the last thing we say in our plan to win is Pirates don't beat Pirates. We only had 1 penalty the other day, and I think that's just a huge improvement for earlier in the year when we had double digits. And the 1 penalty came from Jamari McCrimmon. We were up 28-0, and Caton scores, and Jamarion picked up the ball and tries to spike it. And I told him, I said, the only reason I'm not upset about that is because we're up 28-0. I said, now, we get up 28-0 this week, you can bring the ball over to me, and I'll spike it. So.
Caton may have put him up to that. I'm just saying. All
right. I'm sure there's a lot of that going on for sure.
Absolutely.
We're joined by Blake Harrell here on our Harrell Huddle, brought to you by Healthwise Pharmacy. And, Coach Harrell, we talked to Caton yesterday, and he mentioned last year and how last year when you took over as the head man, you made it so much about the seniors. And he said that he feels like this year he and his fellow non-seniors, whether they be juniors or even other younger guys, are trying to do that again this year and, give them the send-off that last year's seniors got and hopefully winning on senior day this year. So can you just talk about the leadership of some of those younger guys and how they really are buying into this mindset that you instilled a year ago about, hey, these young men who are seniors, it is their last chance to go out there and play football and put on a Pirate uniform, and how much it means to those seniors that they're doing this?
Well, I think it's really about our coaching staff and what they've done and kind of the collective group effort there from not just our coaching staff, but weight room, equipment, and just everybody in the building, training staff. It takes everybody to have the same mindset. We just talked about that in practice today, the same mindset to go be successful. And right now our mindset is just about us. It takes everybody, and it's going to take everybody to go get a win this weekend. And it's the last home game in Dowdy-Ficklin for these seniors, last home game for this season. And what a special way to get a big win against Memphis and send these seniors out of Dowdy-Ficklin the right way. We talk about our team goals, and one of them we accomplished the other day was reaching a bowl game. It's a goal of ours. It's not the only goal or the goal, but it is a goal. And another one is protect Dowdy-Ficklin. And we're 4-1 right now this season in Dowdy-Ficklin, and we have a chance to send these seniors out with 5 wins, and that's pretty special. And we need to go finish this thing off the right way this Saturday.
Moving on to Memphis now, as you mentioned, this is the top-ranked red zone efficiency offense. So what do you feel like they have done so well in that red area? I think that's the same thing. They've only not converted one time, but much like your guys' lack of conversion last year, it was a game where they took a knee at the end of a game or the end of a half or something like that, at the end of a game, and chose not to score. So what have they done so well in that area?
Yeah, they're 40 of 41 in the red zone, and they've done a really good job all season, led by Ryan Silverfield, who's won over 50 games there at Memphis. I think, 2 seasons in a row, he finished with double-digit wins. Looks like he's on his way to do that again this year at some point, and just done a really outstanding job there. And I think the biggest thing I see them doing this year is running the football. And if you can run the football, you got a chance to keep drives alive in the red zone. And I think it starts with their quarterback, Brendan Lewis. He's accounting for almost 3,000 yards. He's got 2,200 through the air, almost 700 on the ground. He's accounting for 20 touchdowns overall. I think 8 on the ground, 12 in the air. And to me, that's kind of the red zone success is what they've done down there with him, the run game, the running backs, and they put it all together. They got a couple of receivers as well. Brady Cluse, number 4, Barham. They can go up and just catch the ball as well. So a lot of weapons in the red zone. I think the only stop down there, you mentioned something about it, I think it's actually the UAB game. They got stopped at the end of the game. Had a few penalties, a few false starts there to back them up. Otherwise, they're probably 41-41 and win that game. And they've been ranked in the top 25 several times this year, and the preseason favorites to win the American, and played some really good football at times.
Coach Blake Harrell, it is our Harrell Huddle for Healthwise Pharmacy as he joins us here on the program. Coach, when you look at what they do defensively, they have obviously tremendous offensive talent, but also they I don't know if they're multiple so much defensively as they are versatile up front.
I think versatile is a good word. Multiple, they're an odd front for the most part. Jordan Hankins does a really good job. Known Jordan for many years, very intense, very aggressive in his approach and mindset, and his players kind of reflect that attitude as well, and his personality. They'll play three high safeties. I think 24 is kind of the middle safeties that come down and make a lot of plays there. The field safety as well as kind of a guy that's active, and then Brumfield, the linebacker, kind of the three guys that have the most production from the analytics standpoint. The D line stands out. They're all big, thick guys that can get off the rock. So we've certainly got our work cut out for us. But for the most part, they'll be in an odd front and three high safety, but they're very versatile, and he'll change that up and have some different flavors to it. And then, very aggressive. You'll see him on third down and key situations, zero out. And what I mean by that, he's going to bring 6 or 7 man pressure and play man in the back end. So we got to be prepared for that in those situations. And I think for us offensively, we got to make sure we stay out of third and long, third and medium, because I think they're really, really good in those situations, bringing simulators and giving you different looks and disguising things. So we got to stay on schedule and keep the chains moving.
With that said, Coach, how much is a game like this will, and it's situational, I know a lot of it is maybe going on your gut, but fourth down, how big will maybe a fourth down play be on either side in a game like this?
Huge. I mean, it was huge last week. We had 2 4th-and-1 stops by our defense. We had a fourth down conversion for a touchdown by our offense, and those things can make the difference in the game. One of the 4th-and-1 stops last week was from Charlotte's own 35, I believe, and set up a score for us. So that'll be key again this week. Just being able to play on conversion downs where it's 3rd or 4th down, and getting off the field defensively and keeping the chains moving offensively. And I think all of it is going to come down to who can run the football successfully. They're averaging, I think, about 175, 185 yards a game running the ball. So, and we're up there as well. So we got to make sure that we can run the ball and stop the run. And I think that'll give us a slight edge there.
Hey, Coach, thanks a lot for the time as always. We really appreciate it. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
There is the head coach of the Pirates, Blake Harrell. We thank him for his time every week here on the Patrick Johnson Show. On the other side, we're going to talk a little college hoops with Brian Mull. Stay tuned. More of the Patrick Johnson Show is next.
Back to the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back. We got a jam-packed show, so let's get started.
Deep breath. Here we go.
Great to welcome back our old friend, Brian Mull, basketball and golf writer at large. He joins us here from Wilmy World, where I've not necessarily made the firm decision because we have not talked, but I'm just rolling this out there. I may have some interest in going to the ECU Wilmington basketball game next Tuesday.
I will be there. I know you will. My daughters enjoy the action so much. I'm a season ticket holder, and my mom is an ECU grad, and so I'm going to see if she wants to go. We're just going to have a large time up there.
All right. I'm going to see if I can sneak in, so I may tag along in some capacity. Just
come
saying.
on in. The Seahawks, they kind of stunk it up, got down by 22 last night at Kent State, rallied, but no shame in losing at Kent State, but suffered their first loss of the season. They're a little shorthanded at the moment, and probably will be Tuesday. They're missing a couple of guards that they expected to play a lot.
Well, that's sort of the ECU thing. Let's talk some college hoops here. I know it's very early. We're just starting the second week. Look, we have spent many minutes, if not hours, on this show, rightfully so, bashing the University North of Carborough. It has not been the salad days are not now. With that said, I will give credit where credit is due. That was a nice win for them Friday night against Kansas.
Well, it was a game they needed.
That was a nice win. Yeah,
they needed that game. They had a lot of people up there. I had a friend of mine that's an alum who took his son, and they did the basketball, football overnight doubleheader. And then Carolina alum Ben Griffin won the golf tournament. And then, obviously, horrible news with Trimble. You hate to see that on a team that doesn't really have a lot of backcourt depth, at least proven. And so they're going to have some guys step up here in the interim. But I'm glad to know he'll be back. And that was Caleb Wilson's the real deal. And that's what they have not had over there in a long time is a freshman just come in. Now, can he do it consistently? I think he can. He seems like he's got the right DNA and is a pretty motivated kid. Felt like maybe he was a little underappreciated in a strong this is one of the strongest freshman classes we've seen in a very long time. Their NBA general managers already strategizing on their way to tank, because there's some talent, there's some difference makers. The kid from BYU is phenomenal. Certainly Cameron Boozer is going to have a great year. But Caleb Wilson, I think, deserves, based on the small sample size, and to be in that conversation. And when you look at North Carolina, they were one of the smallest teams in all of Division I basketball last year, which really shouldn't happen in Chapel Hill. And I think they're in top 10 in average height per Kim Palm. Starting, a very 6'10", 7-foot front court, and a little bigger in the back court than they were last year, and that's important. So the roster construction is better, the pace, and it felt more like Carolina basketball, and so good for the Tar Heels.
It's because they got a GM. All right, so NC State and Will Wade. What are your early impressions of the Wolfies?
Oh, I mean, it's just nothing's changed. I think that it was one of the best hires in a long time on Tobacco Road, as far as coaching acumen and fit. He will take the Wolfpack to the NCAA tournament this year, and that will be the 5th program. And he's a young fella. Has taken to the NCAA tournament. And this will not be a situation where states in February living and dying with every game and studying those around. I think they'll be playing for a seeding, a solid seeding as they get into February. Deron Williams is no joke. He's a grown man, and he's going to help them win 2 or 3 games. They haven't really had a guy like that could just dominate. And I just think I'm actually going to the VCU game, taking a couple of NC State alum friends of mine up there a week from, actually next Monday, the 17th. And I've told them you're not going to win every game, but you're going to know what they're trying to do every game, and you're going to have a product you can be proud of. And there's not going to be as much mystery and doubt as there's been. And Will's the best coach they've had since Sendek and the best fit since Valvano. So look, I'm a big Will Wade fan, always have been. I know he's had some bumps in the road, but I've known a lot of coaches through my last 20 years or so doing this, and he's a different cat. Everything's planned and calculated, and he treats those guys like grown men and is very transparent and honest and coaches them hard, but they play hard for him, and he's a good tactician. He's a good recruiter. He is the perfect kind of guy for this landscape. He's got his buddy there as the GM who has deep roots in just understanding the talent, and Andy Kennedy, whose praises we have sung on the show before.
Sure.
He praised Wade for his roster construction after the game the other night. And said he absolutely expected to see that team playing in March in the big tournament. So who am I to argue with Andy?
Andy knows what he's doing. The great Brian Mull, college basketball writer. Blue Ribbon yearbook is out. In fact, got mine right here, and you saved my bacon the other day. You and your colleagues, Chris Dortch, saved my bacon the other day because I got a late call-in on a game, and I was able on press row a couple hours before the game to read about William and Mary and to read about Norfolk State, and got a lot of good info out of that. So this is the Bible, baby, for preseason hoops. I love Phil Steele, but that is the best preseason publication, if we're being honest, in all of sport, for at least for my money. All right, which I do pay for. No gimme there. And that's a free plug for you, by the way, Brian. All right,
we appreciate it
because you're involved. Yes,
my kids have been able to eat in part because of you, Patrick. So you played your
there
part.
You go. Don't you know? I've done my small part. How about the Boozer boys at Duke?
Yeah, I mean, look. They have a lofty reputation coming in. They've just won everything you can win at every level, high school, summer circuit. They've obviously played together forever, and you can see that chemistry on the court, which is a huge advantage for anyone, but especially a team like Duke, one of the younger teams in the country, and a completely rebuilt roster after losing 5 players to the NBA. And hat tip to Concanipple, who's it might be the rookie of the year. I think he's 1 assist shy of a triple double last night, and just shooting the blood out of the ball, as Miles Bridges, his teammate, said. But no, the Boozers are Cameron Boozer is a better version of his father, and his dad was just one of those guys. Obviously, played on a great national championship team there in 2001, and. You would look up and he would quietly have 16 and 10. And Cameron's he's going to get a few more than that. And it's going to be a little louder. And he's just, he's a better passer and more versatile and just a more modern, fits the modern game. And I think that, it was interesting to watch. There's been a lot of questions, rightfully so, about Duke's point guard play. And is there a point guard on the roster? And, can Caleb Foster, step up to the challenge? Is Caden Boozer the guy as a freshman? But John played them together. Quite a bit against Western Carolina the other day, and he said he wasn't really experimenting, but he was experimenting because he hasn't had his full roster together, but a handful of days because Malik Brown just got fully cleared. So, it just gives them a different dynamic if they're playing a team that's pressuring, or they need a little more ball handling out there. They certainly gives them a couple of playmakers and guys who can get in the paint, score, or find a teammate. I think this Duke team, it looks, they're 9. They got a solid 9-man rotation. Seems like all the holes are filled, and there'll be some bumps in the road along the way. And I would tell the Blue Devil fans to be patient. It took a long time last season for the offense to come together. They did not play offense the entire season the way they were playing in March, and even as late as January, they had some real clunkers and. It'll take them a while to figure that out, but the defense and the cohesion seem to be, and the competitiveness seem to be equivalent to last year. If maybe the top line talent not quite the same.
Brian, if they are going to have, they're going to evolve in the offensive game the way you say that they could. Who do you think is going to be the other guy who can score in a multitude of ways? Because right now it looks like Cameron Boozer and a bunch of guys who can shoot the 3 ball, which is great. But you can't live and die by the 3 ball. So who do you think has the ability to be the number 2 guy in as far as an all-around score?
Well, I think it's got to be Isaiah Evans. Isaiah Evans is right now a guy who could go into the NBA and play 8 or 10 years as a catch-and-shoot 3-and-D type guy. But I think he has the potential to develop this year into a guy who can go in and be a Brandon Ingram type player, a 20-plus point a game, one of the 2 or 3 guys you're counting on to carry the load for your NBA team. So that's, I think that's probably why he came back. That's probably exactly, or similar to what he heard in the evaluations. And I think those were the conversations he had with John Shire. Do you want to just go to the league now and do that and fill that, be a role player, or do you want to come here and try to learn how to be a star? I was fortunate enough to be able to go to a practice this summer, and he was uber aggressive in driving the ball to the basket. He was trying to get in the paint. And he dunked on a couple of people, and I thought his defensive interest and just overall, attention to energy and detail on that end was much higher than it had been last year. His body looked a lot better. So I think Evans ends up being a guy that's average. He's going to average 15 in my opinion, and he's going to have to do it without just jacking threes. He's going to have to get in the paint some. And I think the thing about this team that John, they've got a lot of connectors. Malik Brown's a great connector. Haminia is another guy that can make kind of that hockey assist, and willing passers. There's three things I think that he is. He's not, competitiveness, positional size, and passing. If you don't check all three of those boxes, John's not going to recruit you, and he'll figure out the rest from there. But I think Evans is key. I mean, he's got to be all league for sure. You got to have more than one all league guy. Boozer's obviously going to be one. They got to have Evans and then maybe even Brown or Bonga or somebody else step up and kind of be on the cusp of that as well.
We got Brian Mull with us here talking some college hoop. Duke will be at Army tonight. Carolina hosts Radford. And Wake Forest is at Michigan. Really quick, because I do want to get a little ECU stuff with hoops here from you. But for the Demon Deacons, we're in a little bit of a make or break mode, are we not, for their coach?
No, I agree, and I love Forbes. And look, man, let's talk about some real life stuff. With his wife nearly dying from a stroke a couple of years ago while he was overseas, and coming in, taking the job, during COVID, and just it hasn't been an easy ride for Steve. He's underachieved a bit. I thought it was a phenomenal hire. But now here we are in year 6, no NCAA tournament appearances, back-to-back 20-plus win seasons, 24 and 16 in the ACC the last 2 years. So it's not been awful. It's certainly been an upgrade over some of the other jokers they've had in there, but he's got to get to the dance, baby. And you're absolutely right. Make or break. I agree. They've got to show that they can. They've got some opportunities in the non-conference: Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, of course tonight, Michigan. They've got to win a couple of those games and build a resume. And, if they go 2-2 in those 4, I think that would be great. And then, having a winning record in the ACC, which I think will be much, much, much stronger. And we're looking at probably six bids, and some teams that can go deep. This is a big year for Wake. You can say that basketball in the AC, North Carolina college basketball ACC wise is on the rebound after some couple of years in the dumps, and Wake's got to step up and play their part.
Brian Mull with us here on the Patrick Johnson Show today. All right, East Carolina off to the 1-1 start. I think actually, I took a lot of encouragement from the opener against Georgia Southern, because I really think that Georgia Southern is a well-coached team. I like their coach, Charlie Henry. I think he's a smart dude coaching under Nate Oates, and he's taken over a program that they don't care about basketball, and he's trying to build it in many ways. So I took a lot of they didn't shoot the three well, but they still scored 92 and shot 47% from the floor. Richmond, it was interesting. There's that one little segment where Richmond went on the run, and other than that, it was kind of tete-a-tete, which, to me, I think this is a really great roster if you had a, dynamic scorer. If you had a guy that was going to get you 20 undoubtedly and do it in a loud way every night. Riley may be that guy, but as TJ Long and I kind of talked about off air, it seems like maybe if there's such a thing as a quiet 20 a night, he's got it through the first 2 games. and there's guys in new roles. I like the post presence. The point guard play is a big concern right now. So that's kind of where I am with the Pirates through 2 games. I don't think we're going to learn very much Thursday with East City State coming to town, but maybe a chance to kind of get something established and run your stuff and concentrate on your stuff before they go to Wilmington a week from today.
Yeah, what concerns me, I like the roster. Certainly, the big guy from Mason has been great, and a post presence that they haven't necessarily had. But what concerns me about this roster is perimeter shooting. Riley's not really a guy. I mean, he's a 2-point guy, driver, 30%, or 20. Is he 20? No, he's 30%, and then Mbang is. Or he's 23% career 3-point shooter, and Mbang's 30%. So, I mean, there's 2 of your perimeter players right there that aren't really known for being able to knock down the 3 ball, and it's just so hard to win by 2s these days where teams are routinely making 10-plus threes a game. So that, off to a slow start, 20% beyond the arc in the 2 games. And certainly,
it's terrible.
That will improve. They're not going to finish the year at 20%, but they need to make that. I just wonder, can that become a vital part of the offense? And if it can't, I just think you have a low ceiling in modern college basketball, where teams are putting 3 and 4 guys on the court who can shoot 35% or better, and so that's my concern. And, the 2-point defense has not been phenomenal, but some of that's related to giving up some easy buckets off turnovers and things of that nature. But, I just think, they got to make some shots. Look, it's not complicated. Sometimes you got to be able to, you got to make some threes and get to the line. And when they have gotten to the line, at a high rate, they haven't really converted there. So, put the ball in the basket.
Ryan Mull, college basketball writer and golf writer, 2-time caddy on the PGA Tour in different stints. Dodgers fan, really enjoying his life right now. All right, I want to ask you a golf question. Settle down. I got a golf question for you here. It has been, I don't know if it's been officially announced, but it has come out that I guess LIV is moving to 72 holes.
Love it.
To me.
Love it.
There's a couple tells here. Yeah, I think it's the right thing to. Here are the tells. When you hear the PGA radio guys, the hosts are panicked. So that means this is a good thing for LIV. And then where does this lead to, like, world golf points? Because all of a sudden now, if they're getting world golf points, they're playing 72 holes, they're offering the kind of money they're offering. All of a sudden, I think in PGA Tour land, I'd be nervous again.
Sure. That isn't that strengthens that tour. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And Fred Ridley, who very diplomatically handled the question when it was posed to him last year about his stance on LIV and whether they deserve to be recognized as world ranking. Receiving world ranking points, and that was one of the first. He has a strong voice in the world of golf, and he said, "Look, you got to play. There's a reason the tournaments are 72 holes." And I've told many people if the tournaments were 108 holes or 126 holes or 144 holes, Scotty Scheffler would win them all, because over time he's just better. He's 2 shots around better than the average PGA Tour golfer. So. The long farther it goes, the better his chances. And conversely, a 54-hole tournament allows people to just kind of slip in there and have some puzzling champions of some of these events. So I think it's great, and you're right, and it shows that LIV is not just a flash in the golf history world, but they plan to be around. They need some star power beyond, Rahm. I don't know. They have a lot of needle movers. I mean, DJ and Koepka and obviously Phil.
What they do have is, if you counted if I think somebody's done they would have 14 of the top 100 golfers if they had been awarded points.
Yeah. I mean, world rankings, their world rankings are ridiculously off, obviously, because they haven't been getting points. And, they have had players prove that they can contend in the majors. But, no, I think it's great. I think the 72 holes is great. I'd like to see them move away from the shotgun start because I think you lose the element of tournament golf when you do that and everybody's on the course at the same time. I think there's playing with the lead and having that pressure. And I mean, just look at Higo last weekend. Griffin's out there burning up the course. And Higo played okay on Sunday. I mean, he made a couple of mistakes, but he still shot 4 or 5 under, and he didn't win because the guy went out and posted a number in front of him, and that's part of tournament golf. And you just don't get that same create that same environment when everybody's out there at the same time. But the 72 holes is a big step in the right direction. It is something that the PGA Tour people would rightfully be concerned about, and I would just hope that we can get to a point where we can cross some lines and some live guys can play in some events that maybe they're not eligible for now, and vice versa if they wanted to. And there's obviously enough money. I mean, Liv's come up with billions and the tours come up with billions with this group. And I mean, there's obviously nobody's broke. So let's incorporate it. Let's maybe make some of these bring back some of these national opens around the world in places like that love golf and have had great players like Australia and South Africa, or the Asian market, which is massive. I mean, let's just go buy a country like the Dodgers did.
Had to work that in. All right. Thanks to Brian Mull for being with us. Mull, good to see you, buddy. We'll get you hopefully next week, but if not, shortly thereafter, because we got a lot of college ball to talk.
Always a pleasure. Be a lot going on. Be safe. Stay warm.
Oh, yeah. All right. We'll come back and wrap up the show right after this.
And now, the stunning conclusion.
Why is everyone screaming?
On 94.3 The Game.
All right. Thanks to Coach Harrell. Thanks to our buddy Brian Mull for being on with us today. Thanks to Philip the Rep Pilkington. We'll be back tomorrow, 5 o'clock, live edition of the Patrick Johnson Show. Jim Szoke will be our guest tomorrow from the ECU Sports and Panther Radio Network. All right, I'll see you in a little bit from Williams Arena Minges Coliseum. I'm going to dart over there, and we will have Pirate basketball tonight, 6 o'clock, women's basketball on ESPN+. Have a great evening, everybody.